Pulled the head off the LS V10. Just no issues. Just to look at the quench area, the combustion chamber, the way we've got the burn going. Everything is looking pretty darn happy right now as far as the quench area goes. I mean, we're getting good pattern. So I think we're in pretty good shape here. This one's got a little stuff down here at the bottom. Gonna look at it. That cylinder may be just a little bit rich, but the rest of them are looking pretty good. Okay, this is the dyno sheet from the single large throttle body. Made peak torque at 6,300 and made peak horsepower at 8,000. Also, the torque at 4,500 was 609, and it carried over 600 all the way to 8,200, which was 618. Pretty impressive. And then we have the dual throttle body, the dual throttle body, made peak torque at 4,900 and peak horsepower at 6,900. It goes over 600 foot-pounds of torque at 4,400 and carries it all the way to 7,500 before it drops below 600. So that pretty much tells you what kind of power this motor really puts out. Okay, we've got the V10. We've been doing a lot of dyno testing on the V10. We've got it over 1,000 horse now, naturally aspirated. And I was going to kind of go over all the things that we've done and kind of where we're at and the direction we're going to go with this project. We've got roughly 75 dyno pulls on it, and everything seems to be good. As you've seen in that one picture, we had it off the dyno and took it apart, pulled the heads off of it just to look at everything to make sure everything is looking good. It's a good way to get a feel of what the motor is doing. Look at the combustion chambers, look at the top of the pistons, make sure we're good on the quench. And that's kind of why I took the heads off of it. No other reason other than just to look at the quench real well, look at the combustion chamber. You know, some people, you can do it with a borescope, but you really don't get the full effect of it until you pull the head off and look at it. So we did that. We've tested 3 different intake manifolds, and you know, one manifold works real well up to about 8,200 RPM. The other manifold really kind of starts to lay over about 7,100. That's the dual throttle body intake manifold, but it makes the power a lot lower than the other manifold does. So there's a couple options there on manifolds. I'm not sure what he is going to build right at this time. He's probably gonna at least have 2 different manifolds for it, depending on what a person's going to do with the manifold, or do with the motor, basically. We still got more testing we're going to do on it. I think there's more left in this deal. We've got another pair of heads we're going to put on it at some point here, probably after SEMA. We're setting up a dry sump system for it. So there's some more testing going on. We're going to do some work with the headers, which I know there's some to be found in the headers from my other testing on my other videos. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch some of that stuff. It's very interesting. So we're going to do some header testing with it. Probably camshaft testing with it. And there's quite a bit of stuff still left that we have not tested yet. Basically, we've just scratched the surface on, I think, what this motor is capable of doing. I think there's a lot left in it. The more we dyno test, the more we learn about it. There's a lot of things that I have seen since we've got to this point. I went back and looked at the dyno sheets. I think there's some stuff we need to work on in the tune. Not anything drastic, just to smooth it up as far as the curve goes. That's kind of an overview of what we've done. We've got a couple weeks till SEMA, so we're pretty much done testing on it till after SEMA, and we're going to talk to a few people at SEMA about some things. What else is there on it? Also, you've seen where we sucked the air duct closed on it. I did not realize that it was going to draw that much, and we got some tubing or some flexible ducting that really wasn't strong enough. I've got some heavier stuff ordered so we can actually get fresh air to the motor, which I think we will pick up some power there, because we're just sucking the air right out of the room, which I know in the past when I've tested that, on most motors there's 10 or 12 horsepower to be gained by getting cool fresh air to the motor. Even though you're sucking air through the room, it's still a contaminated environment for the motor to be in. We may test it on methanol. I don't know. We may test it on E85. That's two things we can test on. Like I said, we have the dry sump system. He's working on a pan right now. I have the pump and the bracketry and stuff to make it a dry sump system. I think he's going to maybe do a few modifications to the intake manifolds that he has. I've been trying to convince him to do since he 3D prints it, and it takes some time to do it, and it's not super cheap, but it's better than having to cast a manifold and stuff. I'm trying to talk him into maybe doing a dual carbureted manifold for it and put 2 Braswells on it, and I've got the carburetors just to see what it does with 2 carburetors on it. That's something that I'd like to try and see how it does. It'd be pretty interesting to play with that. There's a lot of testing left to do with this deal, so I honestly think that we can get over 1100 horse naturally aspirated on this motor. I think there's close to another 100 left in it if we work with all the little things that we can work with. And that's kind of where we're at. I posted, earlier in this video, I show some of the dyno pulls, some of the information from the screen and everything. There's a couple of graphs there. You can actually see the power on them. And I could post a bunch more of the dyno pulls, but it's kind of a monotonous thing to sit there and watch that stuff. So I didn't want to put too much up there. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Appreciate everybody subscribing. The comments, I really enjoy, answering the comments. If you've got questions or ideas, put them in the comments. And, we'll see what we can do as far as answering questions. The suggestions, I don't know a lot about it. Be up to him if you have a suggestion about something. I know some people have been talking about putting turbos on it or a blower or something. Maybe at some point we might do that, but the big focus right now is naturally aspirated. So on down the road, probably maybe after the first of the year, we may try to do something with that. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And I hope y'all enjoy it. And if you want some more footage of the dynoing, you know, put it in the comments and I'll post up some more footage of it. And that's where we're at right now. So y'all have a good rest of your day, and I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much.